Hello and welcome to Jack's Huddle, the July 2015 update. Unfortunately, I could not do this presentation live, so I've recorded it and posted it on YouTube. At the end of this session, I was going to do a Q&A portion. I'm going to change that, and once this is posted on the forums, if you have questions or comments you'd like to add, you can comment there and I'll reply to them. So let's get started. Here's our agenda. Shouldn't take us too long to get through. So the first thing I want to talk about is ongoing approval rating projects. So the first one is Project Dunning. It's been established with the goal of achieving an NCA approval rating of 78% by the end of Q4. Our Q2 result was 68.1%, which was a drop of 6.9% from Q1. Project Richardson has been established with the goal of achieving an OSD approval rating of 83% by Q4. Our Q2 result was 79.4%, which was a drop of 5.6% from Q1. And finally, Project Etherington has been established with the goal of achieving an SOC approval rating of 85% by the end of Q4. Our Q2 result was 81.1%, which is a drop of 0.9% from Q1. So I'd really like to see those numbers improve over the next 5 months. The other thing I want to talk about is Project Grant, and this is a project we've launched to establish a more accessible NCA. And it'll take place over the coming months and will roll out in different phases. One of the first initiatives we're taking on are required office hour meetings twice per month for each statutory member of the NCA and once per month for non-statutory members of the NCA. And as you will have seen, we've also been taking a lot of the duties that used to fall under my office and giving them to different members of the NCA. So town hall meetings are now run by the CSA and VCSA. Newly created officers meetings are run by the AA, and there have been a myriad of committee chair position changes. The other project we're working on is to bring back Project Bartlett, to bring back a functional, useful, and resourceful Officer Senate. There are a myriad of advantages to the Officer Senate. It teaches those outside of the MIC the politics of our organization, submerges them in the legislative process, and is an excellent training tool that can be used for people who are potential candidates for the SOC. This will be brought back later this year under new management with a new perspective. On top of what it used to do, members will be encouraged to participate in tabletop simulations. And these will be simulations where we give you scenarios that actually happened to us in the past to see how you would respond. So we designate members of the Senate that would be the Secretary of Defense, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, and so on and so forth, and see how he would respond. And I think it's a great training tool. This is still in the early stages of development. And there'll be more to come later this month. I'm not at this time prepared to say who will be running it, but I hope to unveil that next week. So some meetings and feedback. So in August we are going to roll out Project Tyndall, which is basically a survey of the Military Issuance Council. We try to do this once per year to gauge people's interests, opinions, and recommendations for improvement. And I want to stress this with all the surveys we publish. There will be sections for comments on the survey. While the quantitative data is important to us, your comments and direct feedback serves as a jumping off point for us to address the issues, so we really encourage you to take a few minutes and write your comments. And then Project Leggett. So once per year we have our annual general meeting. This year it'll fall in mid-August and is primarily organized by the NCA. The 2 AGMs prior to this have been instrumental to us, and the issues we addressed outline the issues we addressed the 12 months following. In 2013, the keynote speech addressed the issue of failure from the top down and the lack of integration throughout the military. This was the kickoff event for the Military Issuance Council and the creation of the first and only democratic military simulation on Habbo. In 2014, the AGM was geared towards illegal warfare activities and our condemnation of them, something we still fight today. And this year plans to be just as instrumental, and I'm looking forward to doing it. In October, we'll also be hosting the Secretary's Ball, which is an annual event. It's fairly informal. You ask people to be your dates. We give out awards. There's music, dance. It's all fun. It's something that in the past people have really looked forward to, and it creates a lot of anticipation. And I'm looking forward to hosting that in mid-October. Project Stewart, which is something we've almost completed, which is to redesign some of our facilities. So on Friday, Zathios and Mike Williams worked on an updated HQ lobby, which will unveil on Sunday, so today. I think it looks great. This week I've also been working on a new outdoor Henderson Hall facility, which was designed by NZ Motivation. Since it's outdoors, it'll be renamed, and I hope to have that finished later this week. Also submitted by NZ Motivation was a design for our meeting rooms, and those were updated last week and have been included in a weekly press gaggle with some name changes. Project Acton. It's a complete audit of the U.S. Department of Defense and all of its aspects. This is an initiative that's actually going to be led by Power and Pride and Madeira and is twofold in nature. The first phase is a complete audit of everything DoD, policies, committees, MOSs, offices, positions, and we want to make sure that everything is up to date, relevant, and easy to read. We hope to come out with helpful guides of our somewhat more confusing policies throughout 2015, which are user-friendly, as we understand that not everybody can be a political science major. The second phase, which was suggested by Madeira, will be a committee to examine the legality of executive orders and action proposals. This committee will be made up of representatives from the NCOs, Warrant Officers, Commissioned Officers, HQDA, OSD, and NCA, and it's still in its early stages of development, so we'll talk about it more probably in about a month's time. And then the sensitive MOS application process. I can't dive too deep into this, but it's an initiative we recently started through OIG, OHD, ASA, and OI to help with some of our lower numbers. We'll now be accepting more applicants into the schools of those respected offices to process more people through. However, we will be increasing the standard for these schools, so it'll be much more difficult to get through the schools once you're accepted. This hopefully will create more members in these MOSs, as well as we might be able to find a hidden diamond in the rough. So a few committee updates. So the DHRA, with Monica departing in a week's time, we'll be appointing a new chairperson to this committee. I will also be stepping down as vice chairperson, and we'll be appointing a new individual there. We're going to continue with regular personnel updates, but we will no longer be publishing a quarterly report. I feel as though it's not used or valued enough to make it worthwhile. It takes me anywhere between 10 and 15 hours to put the full report together, and considering the past two reports have received no feedback whatsoever, we're just going to keep that data private. For the Military Issuance Council, June was a strong month. We passed quite a few action proposals. I think only one failed, and it's progressing well. And for the National Security Council, I think we've really found our new groove in the past month with PAP's appointment as Director of National Intelligence. The flow of relevant, important, and mission-critical intelligence has increased exponentially. Going forward, we hope to expand his role and appoint a principal deputy, but that's still some time away. So Project Kermit, the last thing I want to talk about are some big changes to the NCA and OSD. So Monica recently announced her departure from the Defense Department, which will be taking place next weekend. That'll leave her post as Chief of Staff of the Army vacant. In preparation, we have launched Project Kermit. This is something we've actually been working on for quite some time. And I can't reveal much right now, but I will say that upon Monica's departure, the NCA is going to grow from 5 people to 6 people, and there are going to be at least, if not more, 2 new people appointed to the NCA. I think it's going to take a few people by surprise of what we're actually going to do and some of the changes we're going to make, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I think the results we see will be a better NCA. It's more accessible, and actually serves the interests of the Defense Department. So as I said, if you have comments, I encourage you to post them in a reply on the form on the board I have designated, and I'll take my time over the next week to answer some of these questions. I apologize for not being able to do it live. We've just run into some technical issues, and depending on how well this is received, we'll be doing this twice per year, so again in January of 2016. Thank you all for listening in, and I'll see you soon.